The AFK farming software, I became invincible without knowing it. Chapter 201 Shifting Stars. Get lost! Qi Ming shouted. His right hand clenched into a fist and punched out again. The Dharmic power screen turned into a huge fist mark that struck the blood-haired woman. The blood-haired woman screamed. The defensive barrier around her was shattered by Qi Ming's punch. She could not withstand it at all. The aftershock of the punch struck her body. This punch broke several of the blood-haired woman's ribs, causing her internal organs to be injured. The blood she spat out contained fragments of her internal organs. Attack! The square-faced middle-aged man reacted and roared. Immortal Dharmic powers surged and directly transformed into an incomparably huge Dharma idol, forming a 1,000-meter-tall Vajra giant. This was the Vajra Dharma idol. It roared and smashed its fists at Qi Ming like a mountain. Size adjustment. Qi Ming's brows raised. He waved his left hand and used the mystic technique Divine Power. His left arm swelled with the wind and turned into a huge hand seal that covered the sky, subduing dragons and tigers. Two mystic technique Divine Powers were used together. Qi Ming threw a punch out. A huge force blasted out and directly shattered the arms of the Vajra Dharma idol. A terrifying force spread out and sent the square-faced middle-aged man flying. The square-faced middle-aged man screamed and spat out blood. Silver Flood Dragon Scissors. The silver-haired woman took out an immortal treasure. It was a dazzling silver scissors that was refined. It transformed into two silver flood dragons that attacked Qi Ming. World-piercing sword, go! With a thought, the intrinsic Dharma treasure, the world-piercing sword, flew out and transformed into a green sword light. It contained extremely powerful sword Dao power and directly cut apart the two silver flood dragons. Crack! Crack! Ah! The silver-haired woman screamed. Her Dharma treasure was destroyed and she suffered a miserable backlash. She spat out blood and staggered back with a terrified expression. Gravity Dharma Domain. The fat immortal's pupils constricted, and he felt more and more shocked and terrified. However, in this situation, he could only brace himself. He used his divine power spell technique. With him as the center, a gravity domain spread out and acted on Qi Ming, causing him to be suppressed by 100 times the gravity. Hurry! The fat immortal roared, now! Hurry up and attack! The green-haired man's scalp went numb. In the initial exchange just now, Qi Ming's strength was extremely powerful, surpassing their imagination. It was not the strength that a late-stage soul formation realm cultivator could possess at all. It was too terrifying. Exquisite compass. The green-haired man waved his right hand, and the compass in his hand had already flown out and floated above Qi Ming's head. The blood-haired woman, the silver-haired woman, the square-faced middle-aged man, and the fat immortal suppressed their injuries and rushed towards the exquisite compass. They quickly stood at 4 places. Exquisite Annihilation Array. The green-haired man roared. He completely activated the power of the exquisite compass and used it as the array core to evolve a huge array that contained the 5 elements and the Dao of Heaven secrets. With the help of the other 4 companions, he had completely set up the exquisite Annihilation Array. Above Qi Ming, a huge formation diagram appeared, and it was 5 different colors. It represented the power of the 5 elements, and they fused together and caused various changes. Attack! The green-haired man roared and circulated the exquisite Annihilation Array. 5 elements lightning descended and locked onto Qi Ming with the heavenly secrets, causing him to be unable to dodge. Purity Golden Body. Qi Ming circulated his divine power spell technique, and golden light appeared on his body. He was invulnerable to all techniques. The 5 elements lightning of the exquisite Annihilation Array blasted onto Qi Ming's body. Lightning flashed, and it was extremely dazzling. Qi Ming was completely covered by the light, so they could not see his figure. Success. The green-haired man and the others looked at Qi Ming in the array formation, but they could only see a dazzling light. Everything was covered in a dazzling light. Not long after, the energy calmed down and the light dissipated. Qi Ming appeared in front of them unharmed. Although the exquisite annihilation array was powerful, it could not injure Qi Ming at all. In particular, he had used the purity golden body and was invincible. He was almost invincible. Break! Qi Ming pointed out, and the world-piercing sword transformed into an incomparably sharp sword light. It contained Qi Ming's power and the power of the heaven and earth great Dao. One sword to break the world. One sword to slay all techniques. The world-piercing sword directly pierced through the exquisite annihilation array. The entire array formation collapsed from the center, and countless cracks covered the entire array formation. This. Impossible. This is impossible. With the power of the exquisite annihilation array, even a peak Dao integration expert can't withstand it, much less Qi Ming, who is only at the late-stage soul formation realm. How is this possible? The green-haired man and the others shouted in surprise. The truth was the truth. No matter how difficult it was to accept it, this was the truth. The exquisite annihilation array exploded and completely shattered. The aftershock of the explosion sent the green-haired man and the others flying. They spat out blood and were all heavily injured. Come! Qi Ming waved his right hand. The exquisite compass was restricted by Qi Ming's dharmic powers and could not escape. It could not return to the green-haired man's hand and landed in Qi Ming's. This compass is a little interesting. Qi Ming looked at the exquisite compass in his hand. It contained the aura of the Dao of Heaven Secrets. This was a Dharma treasure similar to the Heaven Secrets book, but it was far from the Heaven Secrets book. The difference between the two was huge. Cough cough, the green-haired man coughed up blood. The five of them fell to the ground. Their injuries were too severe, and they could not even stand up for a while. Their faces were extremely pale. Qi Ming, you actually dare to go against our immortal race? Qi Ming! The silver-haired woman shouted, you will pay the price for this. The immortals will not let you off. Ridiculous! Qi Ming shook his head, you've fallen into my hands. Your lives are in my hands, but you still dare to speak so arrogantly. But it's fine, Qi Ming said, you were all supposed to die. Shifting stars. Qi Ming used the mystic technique of the heavenly constellation 36 techniques. The essence soul dharmic powers in his body were rapidly consumed. The surrounding astronomical phenomenon, heavenly secrets, and the power of the mountains and rivers all distorted and changed at this moment. This was the energy that could change the stars of heaven and earth. It could hide and tamper with the workings of the heavens. As the saying went, if the heavens emitted killing intent, it would be easy to move the stars. The bearers of heavenly secrets were like the will of the heavens. The sages enlightened the heart of the heavens, and this was the great technique of life and death, as well as supreme dharmic powers. To put it bluntly, after using shifting stars, Qi Ming could easily tamper with and hide from the heavenly secrets. He could even change the power of the mountains and rivers in the world and grasp the heavenly secrets. He had all kinds of unbelievable abilities. In the heavenly constellation 36 techniques, shifting stars was one of the most difficult divine power techniques to master. At this moment, the world darkened. A black sky screen enveloped the entire space, turning it into an independent space. In this domain, Qi Ming was the ruler. The heavenly secrets are completely chaotic, completely changed. What did you do? What kind of divine power is this? You can actually tamper with the heavenly secrets. The green-haired man and the others sensed the changes in their surroundings. Their expressions were incomparably terrified and shocked. Their entire bodies were trembling. It was too terrifying. It was simply too terrifying. Nothing, Qi Ming said, I only used the power of the divine power to hide the secrets of the heavens, preventing your immortal race from deducing the truth of this matter. After all, I need to borrow your identity. What do you want to do? The green-haired man shouted. Something necessary that I need to do. Qi Ming smiled. You can die now. Qi Ming raised his right hand. Lightning rushed out of his palm and filled the surroundings, turning into lightning that filled the sky and blasted at the 5 immortals. There was a huge commotion. A miserable cry sounded. Under Qi Ming's 5-blow thunderstruck, the green-haired man and the others were all annihilated by the terrifying lightning. Their corpses turned to ash, and there was no corpse left. Their souls were destroyed and dissipated in the world. Moreover, only a few damaged Dharma treasures and a few storage rings were left. Qi Ming accepted it with a smile. Heavenly observation. Qi Ming sat cross-legged and circulated his divine power. He immediately deduced the past and history of the 5 young men and obtained all their information from their past and history. The green-haired man and the others were already dead. It was very easy to deduce the past and history of the dead. Apart from the fog that was filled with matters related to the great secrets of the immortal race, Qi Ming basically knew everything about them. I see. Qi Ming said, the green-haired man is one of the legacy disciples of Immortal King Ling Long. His full name is Ren Baokai. His cultivation level is at the peak of the soul formation realm, and he's only a step away from the Dao integration realm. As for the other 4, N.A. The silver-haired woman's full name is Chu Jiling, the legacy disciple of the weapon Venerable Immortal King. The square-faced middle-aged man's full name is Xia Lingxian, the legacy disciple of the Heaven and Earth Immortal King. The blood-haired woman's full name is Yuan Qingxiu, the legacy disciple of the Blood Venerable Immortal King, and the fat immortal man's full name is Guo Haud, the legacy disciple of the Heavenly Venerable Immortal King. Qi Ming's eyes flashed. Even if I know that there are tigers on the mountain, I still choose to go there. Immortal King Ling Long has grasped the Dao of Heaven's secrets and is almost not inferior to Master, Patriarch Heaven's secrets. However, physical transmutation. Qi Ming circulated his divine power, and dharmic powers surged around his body. In an instant, he had already changed his appearance. His entire aura changed. At this moment, Qi Ming transformed into Ren Baokai. From now on, I'm the legacy disciple of Immortal King Ling Long, Ren Baokai. He waved his right hand. The exquisite compass floated above his palm. In Qi Ming's current situation, be it his appearance, temperament, or the nature of his dharmic powers, or even the spell divine powers he used, he was completely identical to the dead Ren Baokai. NDSC Chapter 202 Degeneration and Evolution. Qi Ming's goal and plan were actually very clear. He had completely exterminated Ren Baokai and the other 3 immortals. When he killed them, he had used the shifting star's divine power to hide and tamper with the heavenly secrets, preventing the immortals from deducing the truth of this matter. They could only obtain the truth that Qi Ming had forged. Qi Ming used the divine power technique of physical transmutation to transform into Ren Baokai's appearance. He wore his identity and could use it to enter the central world. Ren Baokai was the legacy disciple of Immortal King Ling Long. Although his status in the immortal race was not particularly high, it was not low. This way, he had a greater chance of infiltrating and entering the central divine mountain. Ding! Honorable host, the Ying Long Dragon Pearl of the rare spirit pet, Heaven and Earth Ying Long has been devoured by another Heaven and Earth Ying Long. Your rare spirit pet, Heaven and Earth Ying Long has completely lost its true dragon bloodline and is beginning to degenerate at this moment. Qi Ming received a notification. It's starting so soon. Qi Ming pondered for a moment. Ding! Rare spirit pet, Heaven and Earth Ying Long has degenerated into an ordinary spirit pet, Black Python. Its past growth has been restricted. Its cultivation level at the first level of the Tribulation Transcendence realm has been restricted. Currently, it can only unleash the cultivation level of the late-stage nascent soul realm. A notification appeared. It directly transformed from a rare spirit pet to an ordinary spirit pet. The resources used to nurture and consume can be considered to be all gone. In exchange, I only obtained information about the 3 pure Dao scripture. Originally, Qi Ming thought that Black Flame would degenerate into the initial Black Dragon race, but it was not the case. Instead, it degenerated extremely thoroughly and completely lost all its true dragon bloodline, turning into an ordinary black python. The deal between Qi Ming and Celestial Venerable Ying could not be said to be a loss or profit. The background of the three pure Dao scripture was mysterious and unfathomable. In the entire mystic world, probably no one other than Celestial Venerable Ying knew. In addition, only Qi Ming had the Ying Long Dragon Pearl. The deal between the two sides was only mutually beneficial. After Qi Ming learned that the ancient demon emperor, Ying Long, was not dead, he had already wanted to change Black Flame's inheritance and bloodline to prevent it from being controlled and affected by Celestial Venerable Ying. The inventory opened. Qi Ming took out two things. This was a bloodline crystal and an inheritance crystal that Qi Ming had obtained from the giant beast island. He planned to use them both on Black Flame. Item: Bloodline Crystal Void True Dragon. Introduction: a bloodline crystal produced by the giant beast island. The Void True Dragon is one of the 9 major races in the universe. It is innately close to the void and has grasped the great Dao of space. After fusing with the bloodline crystal Void True Dragon, one can become a Void True Dragon. Item: Inheritance Crystal Void Scripture. Introduction: a bloodline crystal produced by the giant beast island. It's a true scripture method created by one of the 9 races of the universe, the Void True Dragon. It opens up the Dao of space and is abnormally profound. These 2 items were obtained when Qi Ming had encountered the Void True Dragon twice in a row on the giant beast island. A huge battle erupted between the 2 sides. In the end, Qi Ming obtained victory and killed the Void True Dragons, so his gains were not small. Come out! Qi Ming waved his right hand, and Black Flame came out of the spirit pet slot. However, he was no longer a heaven and earth Ying Long. He had become a huge black python. The black python roared and lowered its head. After losing the Ying Long Dragon Pearl, Black Flame had completely molted. He could not even transform into a human. Black Flame, it's been hard on you this time. Qi Ming said, if not for your Ying Long Dragon Pearl, I wouldn't have been able to obtain the information about the 3 pure Dao scripture from Celestial Venerable Ying. Next, I'll let you complete an unprecedented transformation and evolution. Black Flame did not have any disgust or resentment towards him. Instead, he felt happy that he was of use to Qi Ming. Everything that the spirit pets had were given by Qi Ming. Apart from some stubborn spirit pets, such as the Death God, Qi Ming was basically an existence like God in the eyes of all spirit pets. It was Qi Ming who gave them everything. No matter what Qi Ming asked them to do, the spirit pets would not have any complaints. They would even be happy to help him. Go! Qi Ming waved his right hand again, and the bloodline crystal Void True Dragon flew out. This bloodline crystal was like a crystal clear diamond ball and more like a multifaceted body. Observing carefully, in the crystal, it was as if an illusory true dragon was sleeping. Black Flame roared and roared at the sky. It opened its bloody mouth and directly swallowed the bloodline crystal Void True Dragon. At this moment, Black Flame roared repeatedly. Waves of energy light spread out from his abdomen. In an extremely short period of time, the energy of the void completely covered the Black Flame. In the blink of an eye, Black Flame transformed into a grey oval egg that was 1,000 meters in diameter. It collapsed in the void and was filled with vast power. Not bad. Qi Ming nodded in satisfaction. This was not the end. Go! Qi Ming waved his right hand again, and the inheritance crystal, the void scripture, flew out. This was also a crystal clear hexagonal ball, more like a polyhedron. It contained the profundity of the void truth. Inside, a talisman representing space was floating. The inheritance crystal void scripture fused into the grey oval egg that was 1,000 meters in diameter. The energy and profundity of the void were filled. In a short period of time, the grey oval egg, which was originally only 1,000 meters in diameter, swelled to 10,000 meters. Fortunately, Qi Ming had previously used the mystic technique, shifting stars, to create an independent space that completely concealed and tampered with the heaven secrets. Even if it caused such a huge commotion, it was completely covered. Not a trace of aura leaked out, and it was hidden very well. Go in. With a thought, Qi Ming put Black Flame, which was the huge grey egg, into the 4th spirit pet slot. I'll charge 10,000 top-grade spirit stones. Qi Ming said, let the ordinary spirit pet, Black Python undergo AFK farming. Ding! Charging successful. Ordinary spirit pet, Black Python is growing under the enhancement of 100 million times. It's currently fusing with the Bloodline Crystal, Void True Dragon and the Inheritance Crystal Void Scripture. It's undergoing an unprecedented transformation. Please wait patiently. A notification appeared. Qi Ming nodded and closed the notification window. Then, Qi Ming retracted his divine power, shifting stars. The independent space disappeared and everything returned to its original state. Moreover, it was already the next morning. The night had already passed. Suddenly, the exquisite compass in Qi Ming's hand sounded. This is. Qi Ming immediately took it out. The exquisite compass floated above Qi Ming's palm. The runes flickered and shone brightly. With a thought, Qi Ming formed a seal in his hand and injected dharmic powers into it. A projection appeared on the exquisite compass. Immortal King Ling Long. When Qi Ming saw this projection, he immediately recognized it. This was because he had deduced Ren Baokai's past and history and knew the true appearance of Immortal King Ling Long. He was a ruddy, sage-like old man. Ren Baokai Immortal King Ling Long asked, how's the matter going? Where's Qi Ming? Have you captured him? Cough cough. Qi Ming coughed out blood. His clothes were also tattered, and his face was pale. He had already transformed into Ren Baokai's appearance with the divine power of physical transmutation. Qi Ming was still pretending to be heavily injured. Master, I'm useless. Qi Ming's strength is too strong. He has even basically grasped Patriarch Heaven's secret's inheritance. I miscalculated and was even ambushed by Qi Ming. Qi Ming revealed an extremely furious and ashamed expression. I lost. Enough. Immortal King Ling Long took a deep breath. He had already deduced the truth of the matter. However, the truth he had deduced was the truth that Qi Ming had tampered with using shifting stars. He sighed, there's no need to say anything else. You're already lucky to be able to escape under such circumstances. I really didn't expect that Qi Ming would not only have the battle sacred body, but his talent in the Dao of Heaven secrets would actually reach this level. No wonder Patriarch Heaven Secrets specially appeared and took Qi Ming as his personal disciple. What should I do next? Do I still have to continue following Qi Ming? No need. Immortal King Ling Long said, there's no point in continuing to stare at Qi Ming. He has already left. He should have returned to the Heaven Enlightenment sect. His details are hidden again. Come back as soon as possible. There's still half a year before the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven opens. You only have one last chance to enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. I hope you can gain something from this. Yes. Qi Ming bowed. The projection of the exquisite compass disappeared. It was better to be early than late. The Immortal King Grotto-Heaven would open in half a year, and Ren Baokai, who Qi Ming had disguised himself as, happened to have a chance to enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. When Qi Ming deduced the past and history of Ren Baokai and the others, he had already known about this. This time, when he heard Immortal King Ling Long say it personally, he could be completely sure. Chu Jiling and the others had already entered the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven 3 times. They did not have a chance to enter again. Therefore, Qi Ming completely decided to infiltrate the central world with Ren Baokai's identity. I can set off after familiarizing myself with this identity for a while. Qi Ming took a deep breath. Next, as long as the physical transmutation can completely hide from the immortals, I can enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. Immortal King Linglong failed to see through the changes in my divine power when his projection contacted me. I think it shouldn't be a problem. Chapter 203 Four Heavenly Gates, Entering the Central World. Qi Ming was not in a hurry to head to the Central World. In the following period of time, he went to the Spring-Autumn Sect and the 10,000 Buddha Temple respectively and visited most of the southern region. In addition, during this period, he constantly polished himself and constantly tried to practice the divine power, physical transmutation. He even used the AFK farming software to cultivate the physical transmutation alone in hopes that the divine power could hide from the immortals. At the same time, he was also waiting for Black Flame to completely fuse with the Bloodline Crystal Void True Dragon and the Inheritance Crystal Void Scripture and complete its evolution. In the blink of an eye, a month later. Ding! Under the enhancement of 100 million times, Ordinary Spirit Pet, Black Flame grew for 30 days and perfectly fused with the Bloodline Crystal Void True Dragon and Inheritance Crystal Void Scripture. It completed an unprecedented transformation and evolution, becoming an ordinary immortal pet, Void True Dragon. It grasped the Dao of space and the Dao of void. Because the limit of its growth exceeded the limit of the mystic world, it was restricted by the heaven and earth and can only grow to the Mahayana realm. A notification appeared. Ha ha ha! Qi Ming looked up and laughed loudly. The joy on his face could no longer be hidden. Good, good, good. This is really great. It perfectly fused the Bloodline Crystal Void True Dragon and the Inheritance Crystal Void Scripture. This directly allowed Black Flame to grow from an ordinary spirit pet to an ordinary immortal pet, skipping the elite spirit pet and rare spirit pet grades. Its cultivation level can directly grow to the Mahayana realm and has reached the ceiling of the mystic world. This is much stronger than the Heaven and Earth Yinglong. After all, the Heaven and Earth Yinglong is not an immortal pet. Shifting stars. Qi Ming waved his right hand and used a mystic technique to hide the heavenly secrets. He transformed into an independent space and sealed the surroundings, completely concealing his aura. Black Flame, you can come out. Black light flashed and was accompanied by a thick grey fog. Space fluctuated. When the dazzling light dissipated, Black Flame's true body appeared in Qi Ming's vision. A dragon roar shook the heavens and the earth. Heaven and earth seemed to be shaking. Qi Ming used the great divine power of shifting stars to hide the aura of this world and completely blocked the commotion caused by the black flames so that no existence would discover him. Black Flame's voice transmission sounded in Qi Ming's mind, "I've already become a Void True Dragon and have already broken the limit of the mystic world. Therefore, I'm restricted by heaven and earth and can't become a true immortal pet. It's fine." Qi Ming looked at Black Flame, who had completely evolved into a Void True Dragon. He was very satisfied. The more he looked, the more satisfied he was. The huge True Dragon body appeared in front of him. This was a genuine True Dragon. A three-clawed True Dragon. The huge dragon body that meandered like a winding mountain range had not completely recovered in terms of cultivation because it had just completed the perfect transformation and evolution. Even so, the true dragon body was still 10,000 meters tall. The huge dragon head, ferocious dragon horns, and floating dragon whiskers were covered in pitch-black dragon scales. Thick grey fog spread out and filled his entire body. To be able to reach this level is already powerful enough. Qi Ming said, "Moreover, even if you are already a Void True Dragon, if you want to become an immortal pet, you still have to experience 9 heavenly tribulations at the Tribulation Transcendence realm. It's still early. Don't be anxious." "Yes, Master." Black Flame replied. "Go back to the Spirit Pet slot and recover your cultivation and strength as soon as possible." "Yes." Black Flame replied. There was a flash. The black flame disappeared into thin air and transformed into a black stream of light that entered the Spirit Pet growth slot. The so-called Spirit Pet growth slot existed between reality and illusion, a state that was difficult to describe with words. 7 days later, Qi Ming left the southern region and headed for the central world. He arrived at the border between the southern region and the central world. The entire central world was actually completely separated from the southern region. It was not only the southern region. The central world was separated from the four regions. It was unimaginable. What kind of power was this? It actually isolated the entire central world from the four regions, forming a true central region and setting up four heavenly gates. They were, Eastern Heavenly Gate, Southern Heavenly Gate, Western Heavenly Gate, and Northern Heavenly Gate. Then, every heavenly gate was protected by immortals. Every one of them was comparable to the Deo-integration realm. Without the permission of the immortals, the living beings in the four regions could not enter the central world. In fact, if they approached the four heavenly gates, they would be killed by the guards. No outsiders were allowed to approach. Those who approached would die. It was obvious how domineering the immortals were. Qi Ming crossed the void and arrived in front of the southern heavenly gate. In the astral layer, the southern heavenly gate stood tall. It was 10,000 meters tall and magnificent. It was carved with various sculptures. Beside the huge southern heavenly gate stood two Deo-integration immortals who were resting with their eyes closed. On a closer look, a transparent seven-colored light screen descended from the southern heavenly gate. What? The Deo-integration immortal on the right opened his eyes and sized up Qi Ming. He pondered for a moment and said, "Ren Baokai, the five of you went out to do something. Why are you the only one who came back? Where are the other four?" Qi Ming remained silent. His expression was a little ugly, as if he was unwilling to mention this. The Deo-integration immortal on the left also opened his eyes. Clearly, he was a little interested. He looked at Qi Ming with a faint smile. "Looks like something happened." "Enough," Qi Ming said in a low voice. "Open the southern heavenly gate. I want to return and report. Please show your Immortal King legacy token." The Deo-integration immortal on the right shrugged. "Don't you know me? Do you still need me to show you the Immortal King legacy token? This is the rule." The Deo-integration immortal on the right said helplessly, "We're only doing things according to the rules." Yu Qi Ming's expression darkened. "Legacy disciple Ren Baokai." The Deo-integration immortal on the left said, "Don't blame us for your own incompetence. Hurry up and take out the Immortal King legacy token. It'll save us a lot of trouble." "Humph!" Qi Ming snorted coldly. With a thought, he took out a hexagonal token engraved with the words "Legacy Disciple of Ling Long" from Ren Baokai's storage ring and threw it to the two Deo-integration immortals. "The token is correct." The two Deo-integration immortals looked at each other and returned the order to Qi Ming. They smiled and said, "Please keep it well. Hurry up and open the southern heavenly gate." "Open." The two Deo-integration immortals held two spears that were like keys. They crossed them and placed them in the center of the southern heavenly gate before slowly pulling them apart. The nine-colored light screen descending from the southern heavenly gate slowly opened like a curtain, revealing a medium-sized entrance. Qi Ming could finally enter. "Legacy disciple Ren Baokai, please," the two Deo-integration immortals said. Qi Ming walked in expressionlessly. He crossed the southern heavenly gate. Qi Ming entered the central world. The concentration of spiritual qi inside was completely different from the four regions. They were two completely different concepts. Such abundant spiritual qi. Qi Ming was shocked, as expected of the central world. It's the territory of the immortals. No wonder the immortals completely isolated the central world from the four regions. If they don't completely isolate it, such abundant spiritual qi will definitely flow into the four regions. It's a huge loss for the immortals. There are still 4 to 5 months until the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven opens. Qi Ming pondered for a moment and said, "My current identity is Immortal King Linglong's legacy disciple, Ren Baokai. Next, I have to inherit everything about him. I have to imitate and disguise his personality until the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven opens. Before that, I have to meet Immortal King Linglong as minimally as possible. Thinking of this, Qi Ming immediately flew away. According to the information he had deduced, he walked towards Ren Baokai's cave abode and his figure had already disappeared into the distance. Apart from entering the central world through the 4 heavenly gates, one could also undergo a stowaway. Back then, the disciples and elders of the Heaven Enlightenment sect had relied on stowaway to enter the central world and inquire about the immortal race. Unfortunately, the Heaven Enlightenment sect disciples and elders who had sneaked in had long been captured by the immortals many times. There was no effect at all. If I remember correctly, 5 Immortal King legacy disciples went out to do something this time, but only Ren Baokai returned. The other 4 are probably doomed. The Dao Integration Immortal on the right said. Although these Immortal King legacy disciples have extremely high aptitude, they are clearly not good at fighting. They are used to living like princes in the myriad Immortal Mountain and are not qualified to do anything. The Dao Integration Immortal on the left nodded and said, 4 of the 5 Immortal King legacy disciples died. Do they really think the 4 regions are made of mud? Are they so easily manipulated? These Immortal King legacy disciples are too arrogant. These 2 Dao Integration Immortals did not like the Immortal King legacy disciples living in the myriad Immortal Mountain. There was envy and disgust. This was also very normal. On the way to the myriad Immortal Mountain, Qi Ming advanced and flew. He passed many places in the central world and saw many things there. There were not many immortals. The immortals were sprites nurtured by heaven and earth. In the central world, Qi Ming mostly saw various demons, humans, half-demons, and even gods, devils, and ghosts. However, in the central world, the immortals were the most respected. The other 5 races were all lowly existences. The immortals were high and mighty, and the other 5 were low class. The classification was clear. In addition, when immortals married each other, they could also give birth to immortals. They were considered second-generation immortals. If the second-generation immortals married again, they could also give birth to immortals of the 3rd generation. Now, since ancient times, there had already been more than one calamity worth of time. The immortals had already experienced 129,600 generations. In addition, Ren Baokai's background was not simple. He was actually a second-generation immortal. Ren Baokai was not an immortal nurtured by heaven and earth. He had parents. His parents were first-generation immortals nurtured by heaven and earth. Their status was very high in the immortal race, and they were merely inferior to immortal kings. Chapter 204 Test. Ren Baokai's identity had clearly increased the difficulty of Qi Ming disguising himself. However, it was also because of his identity that Qi Ming could openly enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. All that could be said was, danger and opportunity coexisted. He flew across more than half of the central world. The sacred land of the immortal race, Myriad Immortal Mountain, was located in the center of the central world. Moreover, it was an immortal holy land formed by immortal mountains with the central divine mountain as the core. It was not true that there were 10,000 immortal mountains. To be precise, only immortal kings were qualified to establish an immortal mountain around the central divine mountain. The entire immortal race had a total of 108 immortal mountains, which meant that there were 108 immortal kings. Existences below the immortal king realm could only establish an immortal city. The immortal mountain was floating in the air, and the immortal city was sitting on the ground. On the ground around the central divine mountain, there were also immortal cities. In every immortal city, a large number of immortals and members of the other 5 races lived there. The status of the other 5 races in the central world was very low, and it was quite difficult for them to survive. They could only help the immortals and become their subordinates. Elsewhere, as long as one was strong enough, one could obtain a sufficient status. It was impossible in the central world because no matter how strong one was, could one be stronger than the immortals? Could one be stronger than the city lord? Could one defeat an immortal king? Clearly not. The status of the 5 races in the central world was suppressed extremely low. The immortal race was the ruler. In the immortal race, strength was respected. In the central world, a total of 129,600 immortal cities were established. Every city lord who was able to establish an immortal city in the central world had at least broken through to the Tribulation Transcendence realm with their cultivation and strength. 129,600 immortal cities. Qi Ming pondered for a moment and said, therefore, the immortal race has at least 129,600 existences at the Tribulation Transcendence realm. This is only on the surface. Ren Baokai's parents are both the masters of Immortal City and are also existences at the Tribulation Transcendence realm. I don't know the exact cultivation level for the time being, and Ren Baokai doesn't know either. Qi Ming thought. Qi Ming had already arrived at the immortal race's holy land. When he approached, an invisible force and will swept across Qi Ming's entire body, but he did not sense anything strange. He heaved a sigh of relief. Not long after, he arrived in front of the exquisite Immortal Mountain. From afar, he could already see the Immortal Mountain standing in the clouds and astral chi. Clouds and fog surrounded it, and immortal chi surrounded it, like a paradise. The Immortal Mountain was not majestic or huge, but it contained a world inside through the Dao of space. Ren Baokai was a legacy disciple of Immortal King Ling Long. His status was relatively high in the exquisite Immortal Mountain. Therefore, he naturally had an independent cave abode in the mountain. Greetings, Legacy Disciple Ren. Greetings, Legacy Disciple Ren. Legacy Disciple Ren, you're back. Qi Ming stepped foot on the exquisite Immortal Mountain. There were many immortal disciples around. When they saw Qi Ming, they greeted him one after another, their voices very respectful. Ren Baokai's status and identity were indeed quite high. According to Ren Baokai's usual habits and personality, Qi Ming ignored the surrounding immortal disciples who greeted him as if he did not see or hear them. That's right. This was Ren Baokai's personality and performance. Towards those existences with low aptitude and no future to speak of, he would not waste any time or expression on them. In fact, he felt that talking to them was wasting his time. Have you heard? Legacy Disciple Ren's mission failed this time. He messed up the matter Immortal King Ling Long handed to him. The other 4 Immortal King legacy disciples who went with him died, and only he survived. Of course I know. This matter has already spread recently. He failed, but Legacy Disciple Ren was not punished us at all. That can't be helped. He's a second-generation immortal after all. We can't compare to him at all. After Qi Ming left, these immortal disciples discussed animatedly. In their words, they revealed their envy, jealousy, and disgust for Ren Baokai. It was indeed very difficult for these immortal disciples not to hate Ren Baokai's personality and performance. At this moment, Qi Ming saw 2 familiar figures in front of Ren Baokai's cave abode. They were Ren Baokai's parents. Qi Ming was shocked. Son. Qi Ming had just arrived when Ren Baokai's mother, Yu Yiling, turned around. She first glanced at Qi Ming. In her beautiful eyes, a strange light rune flashed. The next moment, Yu Yiling rushed towards Qi Ming. Under his awkward and shy gaze, she hugged him tightly and squeezed him into her arms. Of course, Qi Ming acted according to Ren Baokai's personality. He felt as if his entire face was buried in the Grand Mountains. When he touched the delicate pink skin, it was as if he was suffocating. His nose was filled with a refreshing fragrance. Good heavens! This could suffocate a person to death. Ren Baokai's mother, Yu Yiling, was indeed a beautiful woman. She was elegant and had an extraordinary bearing. She was peerlessly beautiful, and her figure was even more fiery and had a pair of magnificent peaks. Qi Ming already had a deep understanding of it. Yu Yiling sighed, "My poor son, I was so worried. How could Immortal King Ling Long let you do such a dangerous thing? Fortunately, you are fine. Otherwise, how can I continue to live?" Cough cough. Ren Baokai's father, Ren Yinfeng, stood at the side and coughed lightly, "Be careful of what you say. If Immortal King Linglong sees this, we will be scolded." Fu Yiling glared at Ren Yinfeng, "What's wrong? Immortal King Linglong let my son go on such a dangerous mission and almost failed to return. Can't I say something?" Ren Yinfeng. Yu Yiling shouted, "You're too cowardly. Linger, what are you saying?" Ren Yinfeng was speechless. At this moment, a figure landed out of thin air. White light flashed as the aura of the Dao of Heaven secrets surged, turning into a blurry fog that had an invisible pressure. "Greetings, Immortal King Linglong." Ren Yinfeng and Yu Yiling's pupils constricted, and shock appeared on their faces. Ren Yinfeng immediately knelt on one knee, and Yu Yiling also let go of Qi Ming and pulled his right hand to kneel down together. "You want to blame me?" Immortal King Linglong was a ruddy and slightly plump old man. He was dressed in a green robe and was indeed as otherworldly as an immortal. We don't dare," Ren Yinfeng said. "Yu Yiling is only worried about our son's safety, that's why she said these words. I hope Immortal King Linglong can forgive her." "I know you wouldn't dare to." Immortal King Linglong said, "Ren Baokai is my legacy disciple. If the two of you don't believe me, you shouldn't have sent him to the exquisite Immortal Mountain back then." Yu Yiling did not speak either. "The two of you can go back." Immortal King Linglong waved his hand. "Yes." Ren Yin stood up and pulled Yu Yiling up. "Let's go." "Son." Yu Yiling held Qi Ming's hand tightly and was very reluctant. "Remember to come to the Moon Immortal City to find us. Remember to protect yourself. Nothing is more important than your life." Qi Ming nodded and looked slightly cold. "Let's go." Ren Yinfeng said. Ren Baokai's parents left. "Greetings, Master." Qi Ming bowed as he said with anger, "I failed to complete Master's request. I get up and talk." Immortal King Linglong waved his right hand, and an invisible force acted on Qi Ming's body, causing him to involuntarily stand up. "The responsibility for this mission's failure is not on you. I underestimated Qi Ming's methods and abilities. If I knew that his abilities had reached this level, I wouldn't have sent you over. At the very least, I would have sent a city lord. In the next period of time, cultivate well in seclusion and make sufficient preparations to head to the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. This is the most important thing." "Yes, I understand. As for the other 4 Immortal Kings, I'll help you deal with them. The fault won't fall on you." Immortal King Linglong continued, "No matter what, the legacy disciples of the weapon Venerable Immortal King and the others are all dead, and only you are still alive. Indeed, the rumors during this period of time are quite harsh on you." "Disciple thanks Master." Qi Ming wanted to bow. "You don't have to kneel for no reason." Immortal King Linglong waved his right hand again, and another invisible force stopped Qi Ming. "You have to change your personality. Also, there are some things about you that needs to change. On the path of immortal cultivation, you have to abandon your inner demons and sharpen your heart. Don't think that I don't know what you've done." "Yes, Master." Immortal King Linglong nodded in satisfaction. Then, he left and his figure disappeared into thin air without any signs. Huff! Qi Ming heaved a sigh of relief. This conversation with Immortal King Linglong did not seem strange, but the latter had already probed him 3 times. First, when Ren Yinfeng and Yu Yiling were still around, he used divine power spells to spy on Qi Ming. After sending them away, he forcefully held Qi Ming up with his dharmic powers. This was also a test. Thirdly, Immortal King Linglong stopped Qi Ming from kneeling and bowing. This was the last time he combined spells and divine powers to probe. Although it was extremely obscure, Qi Ming still sensed it. In the past, Ren Baokai respected Immortal King Linglong from the bottom of his heart. Therefore, every time he saw him, he would kneel when his mood fluctuated. That was why Immortal King Linglong said that it was not good for Ren Baokai to kneel for no reason. Immortal King Linglong had never stopped Ren Baokai from kneeling in the past. This was the first time he did so. This meant that Immortal King Linglong was probing Qi Ming. Qi Ming's physical transmutation divine power technique was indeed too heaven-defying. Coupled with the fact that he had used other divine power techniques, he really hid the truth from Immortal King Linglong. Chapter 205 Debauchery Room, Limit of Perfection. Qi Ming felt much more relaxed. He had already overcome several difficulties. Since the physical transmutation could hide from Immortal King Linglong, it should basically be able to hide from the other immortals. This was because Immortal King Linglong was an expert who had grasped the Dao of Heaven secrets. Even Immortal King Linglong was unable to discover the flaw of the physical transmutation, so it was even more impossible for the other immortal kings to notice. From the ancient era to the present era, the immortals had crossed over 2 calamities of time. They had planned a huge plan to create the immortal world and compare it with the upper world. Such a magnificent dream was simply impossible. However, it also reflected the unfathomable power of the immortals. The immortals definitely had other methods that Qi Ming did not know. The Immortal King Grotto-Heaven was an important existence among the immortals. They naturally had to guarantee that every immortal who entered would not have any problems. I still have 5 months. Qi Ming pondered for a moment. I can still continue to perfect the divine power technique, physical transmutation. I reckon that before the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven opens, Black Flame can also recover its previous cultivation. Then, Qi Ming entered Ren Baokai's cave abode. It was indeed unique and had a feeling of paradise. The various decorations were also extremely extraordinary. Immediately after, Qi Ming continued to advance deeper. Open! Qi Ming waved his right hand, and dharmic powers surged out. He activated the hidden array formation and opened the door to a secret room. The door opened and let out rumbling sounds. Welcome home, Master! Master! Then, Qi Ming heard a group of voices. Huff! Qi Ming took a deep breath and walked in. In this secret room, it was decorated in an extremely alluring way. The theme was pink. It could stir up lust. On the ground of the secret room, more than 10 beautiful and sexy women were kneeling. These dozens of beautiful and sexy women were on all fours as they slowly crawled to Qi Ming's side. This Ren Baokai. Qi Ming looked at the dozens of beautiful and sexy women around him. There were lowly, teenage girls, mature women, and sexy hot women. It contained various different styles. Most importantly, Qi Ming clearly discovered that these beautiful and sexy women that Ren Baokai raised included the gods, devils, humans, ghosts, demons, and immortals. It could be said to be a complete collection. In addition, these beautiful and sexy women were more or less similar to Ren Baokai's mother, Yu Yiling, in some aspects. The most similar one was a blonde girl from the god race, almost 70% to 80% similar to Yu Yiling. This fellow Ren Baokai's temperament is really vile. Qi Ming shook his head. He even has a mother fetish. Actually, this could be seen from the women that Ren Baokai reared. His personality was indeed not good. Master! The blonde beauty of the god race, who was 70 to 80% similar to Yu Yiling, had charming eyes. Her clothes were quite exposed, revealing her exquisite and white skin. Her legs were slender and round, and her figure was sexy. She slowly crawled in front of Qi Ming and slowly climbed up his body from under his feet. Ha ha ha! Qi Ming laughed loudly. His right hand held the beautiful girl's slender and soft waist. His broad hand had already reached deep into the hidden zone, vividly displaying his original personality. This time, I almost died outside. If not for my intelligence, I wouldn't have returned. Today, I want you to make me happy. Master! Master! Woof woof! Amidst the voices, Qi Ming walked towards the depths of the secret room and all sorts of gasps could be heard. In the exquisite immortal pavilion, on the 9th level, a screen appeared, revealing the scene of Qi Ming in the secret room. Immortal King Linglong waved his right hand and retracted the divine power spell technique to spy on Qi Ming. The light screen and scene that appeared also disappeared, and the aura of the heavenly secrets around him was hidden. However, 4 figures with terrifying auras appeared around him. These 4 terrifying figures were the weapon Venerable Immortal King, the Heaven and Earth Immortal King, the Blood Venerable Immortal King, and the Heavenly Venerable Immortal King. The 4 of them had clearly seen the scene just now. Ha ha ha! The Heaven and Earth Immortal King laughed loudly and said, "This Ren Baokai actually has such a hobby. If Ren Yinfeng knows about this, he'll probably be angered to death by his son." Back then, Yu Yiling's aptitude and talent were top-notch in the Myriad Immortal Mountain. Coupled with the fact that she was peerlessly beautiful to begin with, she had many immortals pursuing her. The Blood Venerable Immortal King said, "I still remember that back then, in the Myriad Immortal Mountain, there was a peerless fairy ranking. Yu Yiling was ranked 3rd. I didn't expect that after taking a fancy to Ren Yinfeng, she would have such a son." Immortal King Linglong said coldly, "Your legacy disciples are dead, and only my legacy disciple returned alive. You're in a bad mood and think that there's a problem with Ren Baokai. I can understand that. Even I suspected him a little. In total, I tested Ren Baokai 3 times and did not discover any problems. Now that you've seen it, he's indeed genuine. This matter can end here." The Heavenly Venerable Immortal King said, "The Immortal King Grotto-Heaven is about to open in 5 months. Ren Baokai still has a chance to enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. Therefore, for the sake of caution, we have to confirm that there's really no problem with him. I hope you can understand. Goodbye." Immortal King Linglong said coldly. "Let's go. Interesting. Haha, I've watched a good show. Let's go." The 4 Immortal Kings left. Immortal King Linglong deduced carefully. The Dao of Heaven secrets circulated. On his body, there was a dense fog. The scenes he deduced were all scenes that Qi Ming had used shifting stars to hide and modify. In Immortal King Linglong's deduction, Qi Ming set up a trap outside Heaven Demon City to lure Ren Baokai and the others into his trap. He used the Heaven Secrets Array to kill Chu Jiling and the others. Ren Baokai used the Exquisite Compass to deduce a flaw in the Heaven Secrets Array and escaped. Battle Sacred Body, Heaven Secrets Array. Immortal King Linglong's gaze flickered. "What other secrets do you have?" At this moment, Qi Ming had truly hidden it from Immortal King Linglong. In Ren Baokai's secret room, also known as the Debauchery Room. Immortal King Linglong, that old thing. Qi Ming took a deep breath. This time, he was truly sure that he was not being watched. He had grasped the heavenly eye divine power, clairvoyant sight. He could naturally sense that although Immortal King Linglong had left previously, he had been constantly watched by Immortal King Linglong. Qi Ming had no choice but to enter the secret room that Ren Baokai had constructed. Moreover, he had no choice but to do those things according to that guy's personality. Tisk tisk. Qi Ming looked at these beautiful women. In the debauchery room, their white bodies intertwined and licked each other, creating a blurry scene. He did not have the intention to participate. These women had been played by Ren Baokai countless times. From beginning to end, they had played countless tricks and were completely nurtured by him. Qi Ming was really not interested in such used goods. In any case, if Qi Ming really wanted to taste the joy of the flesh, wouldn't it be nice to find his senior sister? As for what he had done just now, he was just acting for Immortal King Linglong and the others to see. Qi Ming casually set up the divine power of shifting stars in the secret room. These beautiful women were also in the illusion set by Qi Ming. The scene Immortal King Linglong and the others saw was unreal. All that could be said was, half was true, and the other half was fake. Next, Immortal King Linglong should not continue to probe me. Qi Ming pondered for a moment and thought, however, it's not impossible to continue probing. In the next period of time, I have to be careful and cautious. I have to fully immerse myself in Ren Baokai's role. I can't expose any flaws to avoid being discovered. Otherwise, all my efforts will be wasted. In the blink of an eye, 5 months later. On this day, at noon. Ding! The heavenly constellation 36 techniques, physical transmutation has been cultivated for 150 days under the enhancement of 100 million times. Congratulations, host! You have comprehended the essence of the heavenly cycle. The heavenly constellation 36 techniques, physical transmutation has already been raised from perfection to the limit of perfection. A notification appeared. Success! A smile appeared on Qi Ming's face. The next moment, he entered a mysterious state. In this state, he felt that he had entered a strange world. In this world, he constantly comprehended and learned the profundity of physical transmutation. He gradually understood and approached absolute perfection. Not long after, Qi Ming recovered. At the same time, his mastery of physical transmutation had reached the limit of perfection. So there were still some flaws after all. Qi Ming circulated the mystic technique, physical transmutation, again. From Qi Ming's point of view, he indeed saw some flaws. Although they were very small and almost invisible, it was very likely that these extremely minute flaws would cause the immortals to discover him. Physical transmutation. Qi Ming circulated this mystic technique divine power again. His dharmic powers circulated and quickly enveloped his entire body, undergoing another change. This time, he had completely transformed into Ren Baokai. No one could tell that Qi Ming felt as if his original karma had already been completely linked to him. What an unbelievable transformation divine power! Qi Ming sighed. Ding! Ordinary immortal pet, Void True Dragon has grown for 150 days under the enhancement of 100 million times. It has already grasped the Void True Dragon bloodline and the Void Scripture. Its cultivation level has already completely recovered to the first level of the Tribulation Transcendence realm. It can summon the second level of the Heavenly Tribulation at any time and cross the Tribulation to enter the second level. Another notification appeared. Black Flame's cultivation level has recovered. Qi Ming was delighted. Ren Baokai. At this moment, Qi Ming heard Immortal King Linglong's voice transmission, quickly come to the exquisite Immortal Pavilion. The Immortal King Grotto-Heaven will open in 3 days. You can set off in advance. Chapter 206, Central Divine Mountain. Yes, Master. Qi Ming was neither anxious nor flustered. He was calm, but on the surface, he still expressed nervousness and anticipation with Ren Baokai's personality. Ren Baokai had entered the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven twice previously. The gains from the first 2 times did not seem to be great, so he was naturally filled with nervousness and anticipation for the 3rd time. Qi Ming left Ren Baokai's cave abode. His figure tore through the air like a green stream of light as he headed for the top of the exquisite Immortal Mountain and arrived in front of the exquisite Immortal Pavilion. Junior Brother Ren, you're here. Senior Brother Ren. In front of the exquisite Immortal Pavilion. Apart from Qi Ming, there were also 18 legacy disciples of Immortal King Linglong. 8 of them had entered the sect a little earlier than Ren Baokai, and their cultivation levels were all at the peak of the soul formation realm. Therefore, they could be considered his senior brothers and senior sisters. Apart from that, the remaining 10 were all a little later than Ren Baokai. Their strength and cultivation levels were inferior to him, so they were his junior brothers and sisters. It was even the first time some of them had entered the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. In less than half a minute, 3 more figures arrived. 2 men and a woman. These 3 could be considered the eldest senior brother, second senior brother, and third senior sister of the legacy lineage of the exquisite Immortal Mountain. This time, like Ren Baokai, they had entered the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven for the 3rd time. Most importantly, when the 3 of them entered the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven the first 2 times, their gains were extremely great. They obtained many benefits and cultivated several powerful divine powers. Among the legacy disciples of the exquisite Immortal Mountain, they were the first batch and had the highest chance of becoming the personal disciple of Immortal King Exquisite. First senior brother Xiaochuan, second senior brother Zhao Changli, and third senior sister Ye Hanfan. Everyone is here. Immortal King Linglong seemed to have appeared out of thin air and appeared in front of Qi Ming and the others. He was dressed in a green robe, had white hair and a youthful face, and had a sage-like appearance. "Greetings, Master." Then, Qi Ming and the others bowed at the same time. "You should know a lot about the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. I don't have to say anything else." Immortal King Linglong said, "In the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven, there are all kinds of tribulation chi surrounding it. If you're not careful, you'll be bound by the tribulation chi and turn to ashes. However, there are also various opportunities inside. You have to find them yourselves. Let's go." As soon as Immortal King Linglong finished speaking, he waved his right hand, and an immortal tower ship pavilion appeared in midair. It floated in the air and was filled with clouds and mist, like an immortal boat. "Come up." Immortal King Linglong stepped into the immortal boat first and instructed. "Yes, Master." Qi Ming and the others also followed up in succession and stepped onto the deck of this immortal boat. This immortal boat was called the Exquisite Immortal Boat, and it was refined by Immortal King Linglong. The Exquisite Immortal Boat was a powerful Dharma treasure. Immortal King Linglong waved his right hand, and Dharmic powers surged out and poured into the Exquisite Immortal Boat. The ship was like a stream of light that instantly disappeared from the spot. It was as if it had drawn a long thin line, causing space and light to distort. On the other 107 Immortal Mountains Immortal Kings appeared. They all summoned their Immortal King Immortal Boats and brought their legacy disciples to the Central Divine Mountain. The Central Divine Mountain was at the center of the Central World. At the same time, it was also in the core region of the Immortal Race's Holy Land, the Myriad Immortal Mountain. Qi Ming rode the Exquisite Immortal Boat and crossed the distance of space. Wherever he passed, he could still see the immortal mountains of the other immortal kings. On the way, he even encountered the immortal boats of the other immortal kings. Junior brother Ren. At this moment, a familiar figure walked over from Qi Ming's side. He was second senior brother, Zhao Changli, a young man with an aquiline nose. Senior brother Zhao. Through deducing Ren Baokai's past and history, Qi Ming already knew that the relationship between Zhao Changli and Ren Baokai was not good. Because of an accident, Zhao Changli learned Ren Baokai's secret. In other words, Zhao Changli discovered Ren Baokai's secret room and knew that he kept beauties of the various races. Actually, this was not a big deal. However, the problem was that the beauties of the various races were a little similar to his mother, Yu Yiling. This secret was neither big nor small. Zhao Changli used this to threaten Ren Baokai and took away his opportunities many times. Because of this, Zhao Changli had taken away Ren Baokai's opportunity and became his second senior brother and had the qualifications to become Immortal King Linglong's personal disciple. However, Ren Baokai had been left behind time and time again. "I've been busy cultivating the spatial divine power you gave me last time, so I haven't come out of seclusion. I heard about you a few days ago." Zhao Changli smiled faintly. "You actually didn't complete the mission given to you by Master. The 4 people who went with you are all dead, and only you survived. Junior brother Ren, you're really lucky." "I was just fortunate." Qi Ming replied. It's fine, it's fine." Zhao Changli patted Qi Ming's shoulder. "As your senior brother, I can't be happier that you're alive. Are you interested in telling me what happened? Is Qi Ming really that powerful? He tricked and killed 4 of you when the 5 of you joined forces." "Senior brother Zhao, you're asking too much." Qi Ming took a deep breath and frowned. "Ha ha ha!" Zhao Changli laughed a few times. "It's fine if you don't want to say it. There's no need to have such an ugly expression. This is the last time you'll enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. I wish you good luck in the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. At that time, you must let me take a good look." Qi Ming did not say anything. Zhao Changli felt bored and left. It was as if he did not want to provoke Ren Baokai and knew his place. Ren Baokai, oh Ren Baokai. Qi Ming shook his head in his heart. If you're said to be trash, your aptitude and talent are extremely high, and your luck is extremely good. Behind you are the parents of the first-generation immortal race. You can be said to be a true second-generation immortal. But if I don't say that you're trash, you were actually caught by Zhao Changli because of that matter. Moreover, you were always threatened by him because of that matter. Such a temperament and personality are really trash. Qi Ming pondered for a moment. It's fine if this Zhao Changli doesn't affect my plan. If he insists on courting death, I'll find an opportunity to kill him. We've already arrived at the central divine mountain. At this moment, Immortal King Linglong's voice sounded in Qi Ming's ears. The exquisite immortal boat stopped. That is. Qi Ming looked over. What greeted his eyes was only the tip of the iceberg of the central divine mountain. The exquisite immortal boat stopped in the air, and in front of it was the completely invisible central divine mountain. He looked up. The diameter of the central divine mountain was impossible to estimate for the time being, and its height was even more unimaginable. The huge divine mountain was like the Lord of the heavens as it constantly spread upwards. It was majestic, powerful, and incomparably majestic, as if it had already pierced through the horizon of the mystic world. It was unimaginable. When they approached, they could sense a terrifying pressure emitted by the central divine mountain, and it was like the might of the heavens and the earth. Ordinary people were utterly unable to approach it and would be pressed to the ground by this divine mountain pressure. Exquisite immortal path. Immortal King Linglong formed hand seals and immortal seals appeared. They tore through the air and fused into the central divine mountain, producing energy fluctuations. Immediately after, clouds and fog surrounded the central divine mountain. A thick staircase spread out from the center divine mountain, and it happened to be connected to the exquisite immortal boat. You can set off. Immortal King Linglong said, you only have 3 days to follow this exquisite immortal path and step foot on the central divine mountain. Then, you need to rely on yourselves to walk to the top of the central divine mountain in 3 days. Of course, if you can't reach the top of the central divine mountain in 3 days, you will lose the qualifications to enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. This can be considered a test for you. Do you understand? Yes. I understand. Yes, Master. Qi Ming and the others replied in unison. Immortal King Linglong nodded. Hurry up and set off. Yes. Yes. The first to leave was the eldest senior brother, Xiaochuan, who got off the exquisite immortal boat. He stepped on the void and followed the exquisite immortal path that Immortal King Linglong had established. In the blink of an eye, he had already stepped foot onto the central divine mountain. Then, Xiaochuan quickly set off towards the top of the mountain. Ha ha ha! Zhao Changli laughed a few times and quickly followed. Eldest senior brother, you're still at the front as usual. Wait for me. Immediately after, Ye Hanfen followed closely. Not long after, the legacy disciples on the exquisite immortal boat stepped onto the central divine mountain one after another along the exquisite immortal path. Qi Ming became the last. Ren Baokai, why aren't you setting off? Immortal King Linglong asked. Master. Qi Ming replied, I've been in seclusion to reflect over the past few months and have comprehended a lot. This is the last time I'll enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven and also my last chance. This time, I will press forward no matter what. You. Somehow, Immortal King Linglong sensed the change in the heavenly secrets. When Qi Ming said this, Immortal King Linglong felt that Ren Baokai's fate and the heavenly secrets had changed. As soon as Qi Ming finished speaking, his figure soared into the sky. He was like a green light that followed the exquisite immortal path that Immortal King Linglong had established and entered the central divine mountain. Ren Baokai, a surprised expression appeared on Immortal King Linglong's face. He was already unable to deduce Ren Baokai's future clearly. It's indeed unbelievable. In a short period of time, Ren Baokai's fate and the workings of the heavens have actually undergone such a change. Even I'm a little unable to figure it out. Although Ren Baokai was unable to bring Qiming back this time, he has experienced this calamity of life and death and comprehended his inner heart. He has strengthened his Dao heart and obtained enlightenment between life and death. It might be very difficult for Ren Baokai to become an immortal king in the future, but there's still hope of him becoming the lord of an immortal city. To the entire immortal race, every additional person with the combat strength of an immortal city lord will give us an additional hope in the future. It's not a bad thing. Chapter 207 Heaven and Earth Array Formation. Qiming followed the exquisite immortal path that Immortal King Linglong had established and entered the central divine mountain. Around him were extremely tall trees, and there were an extremely large number of them. All kinds of vegetation were spread out, forming the scene and environment of the primitive forest. Then, Qiming took out the Immortal King Legacy Token. This token resonated with the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven in the unseen world. Coupled with the aura of the exquisite immortal path, it could guide Qiming towards the top of the central divine mountain. Go! Qiming quickly walked in the direction indicated by the Immortal King Legacy Token. He rushed to the top of the mountain as quickly as possible. In the central divine mountain, there were no intelligent creatures, but there were various worldly array formations formed by the natural world. The Heaven and Earth Array Formation was constructed by a special environment. It was an array formation formed by Heaven and Earth. It was not an artificial array formation, so the power of the Heaven and Earth Array Formation was not weak. Moreover, it was of all kinds. There were trapping arrays, killing arrays, illusion arrays, or complicated array formations formed by various types of array formations. On the way to the top of the mountain, it was possible to fall into a Heaven and Earth Array Formation. On the way to the top of the mountain, the closer the legacy disciples approached the top of the central divine mountain, the heavier the pressure released by the divine mountain would be. It was harder to resist. If one's temperament was insufficient, their cultivation level was insufficient, and those with insufficient strength would even be unable to resist this pressure, much less resist the top of the mountain. Of course, Qiming and the others still needed to avoid the Heaven and Earth Array in the central divine mountain. If they fell into the Heaven and Earth Array, they had to break through it as soon as possible. Otherwise, if they were delayed, they would not be able to reach the top of the mountain in 3 days. Those who failed the test could not enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. Half an hour later, Qiming encountered a Heaven and Earth Array Formation. It was only a trapping array. Qiming accidentally fell into it and formed an independent array formation space. In this array formation space, it was a peach forest formed by peach trees. The scene changed. On the top of the central divine mountain, the 108 immortal kings gathered here. Behind them, there was a chaotic mist. In the chaotic mist, the entrance to the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven was hidden. It had not been activated yet. If they wanted to open the entrance to the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven, they had to gather 108 immortal kings and use the corresponding immortal race mystic technique to open the entrance. In the surroundings, figures appeared. In every projection was the situation and scene of the legacy disciples of the immortal kings. The legacy disciples of the immortal kings saw everything. Peach Forest Confinement Formation. Immortal King Linglong specially took note of the situation on Qiming's side and took a few more glances. Ren Baokai entered the confinement array less than half an hour after entering the central divine mountain. Immortal King Linglong was a little disappointed in Ren Baokai. He originally thought that he had comprehended his true self and strengthened his Dao heart. His future was promising, but he had just entered the central divine mountain and was trapped in the formation. This caused him to be greatly disappointed. What? Immortal King Linglong exclaimed softly again as a surprised expression appeared on her face. This he only used half a minute to actually crack the peach forest trapping array. In the peach forest trapping array, Qiming waved his right hand and took out the exquisite compass. He circulated his dharmic powers and used it to calculate. In half a minute, he found the flaw of the peach forest trapping array. He easily walked out of the peach forest trap array through this flaw. Ren Baokai's deduction skills have actually increased by so much. Immortal King Linglong had a delighted expression. The peach forest trapping array is in the central divine mountain. Although it's the lowest level heaven and earth trapping array, it's already very, very outstanding for Ren Baokai to deduce the method to resolve it in half a minute. Truthfully, Immortal King Linglong had his suspicions. However, he had tested Qi Ming several times in a row, and there was no problem every time. Therefore, Immortal King Linglong could no longer suspect anything. Facing this situation, Immortal King Linglong could only believe that because Ren Baokai had taken a trip to the edge of life and death and almost died, his disposition had been broadened, and he had comprehended his inner heart and strengthened his Dao heart. This was the reason why such a huge change had occurred. Immortal King Linglong said happily, if Ren Baokai can really obtain enough opportunities in the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven and obtain the most perfect Dao integration technique, with the talent he has revealed now, I can consider taking him in as my personal disciple. In the central divine mountain, Qi Ming had just walked out of the peach forest trap array. With the talent I displayed just now and my attainments in the deduction technique, I probably already made Immortal King Linglong look at me in a different light. It's even possible that he has the intention to take me in as his personal disciple. Qi Ming put away the exquisite compass and quickly walked towards the top of the mountain. This is also what I want. First, after completely escaping suspicion, I'll completely prove myself and display even more outstanding talent to increase my position in Immortal King Linglong's heart. I'll complete my plan step by step. Qi Ming calculated everything precisely. Immortal King Linglong did not even know that he had already fallen into Qi Ming's trap. He did not know that all of his actions had been predicted by Qi Ming. Immortal King Linglong's attainment in the Dao of Heaven Secrets was practically on par with Patriarch Heaven Secrets. Moreover, his cultivation was much higher than Qi Ming's. Logically speaking, Qi Ming's mastery and attainment in the Dao of Heaven Secrets should be inferior to Immortal King Linglong. However, Immortal King Linglong was an immortal cultivator, while Qi Ming cultivated the Heaven and Earth Great Dao. The two sides were not on the same level. Qi Ming had comprehended the Heaven and Earth Great Dao and had the purity golden body to protect him. He was immune to all methods and automatically blocked the heavenly secrets. It was difficult to scheme and deduce things about him. Moreover, Qi Ming not only cultivated the three lesser divine powers that Patriarch Heaven Secrets had passed down to the highest realm, but he also had the Heaven Secrets book and the Heaven Secrets brush protecting his body. Most importantly, Qi Ming had also grasped the heavenly constellation 36 techniques. This was a great divine power that far surpassed the lesser divine power. Under these circumstances and conditions, Immortal King Linglong was led by the nose by Qi Ming. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, a day later. Qi Ming was not in a hurry to directly head to the top of the mountain. He could constantly display more outstanding talent and increase his weight, but he could not go too far. There had to be a round and gradual growth process. On the way to the top of the central divine mountain, Qi Ming encountered the array formation of the central divine mountain again and again. He fell into them again and again. There were confinement arrays, killing arrays, illusion arrays, bewitching arrays, mixed arrays. Qi Ming cracked these heaven and earth arrays one by one. Every time Qi Ming cracked a heaven and earth array, his deduction technique would increase greatly, and his grasp of the Dao of Heaven Secrets would increase a little. Immortal King Linglong had been paying attention to Ren Baokai from the beginning to the end. He had personally witnessed his growth and how he had gradually perfected his deduction technique and improved the Dao of Heaven Secrets. All right, all right. Immortal King Linglong nodded repeatedly, he's indeed very outstanding. Although Ren Baokai's talent was very high in the past, he was at most a legacy disciple. This time, after he comprehended his inner heart and Dao heart, his improvement was huge. I've witnessed the birth of a postnatal genius. He's good enough to become my personal disciple. At noon the next day, on the mountaintop, many Immortal King legacy disciples had already arrived in succession. Every one of them was a genius among the geniuses of the immortal race, and every one of them was sufficient to become the personal disciple of an Immortal King and had a chance to become the lord of an immortal city in the future. At this moment, a beautiful silver-haired woman in palace robes walked over. She glanced at Immortal King Linglong and asked curiously, "Immortal King Linglong, I saw a knowing smile appear on your face many times just now. Did you discover anything interesting?" Immortal King Linglong calmed down. "Arcanum Immortal King, it's nothing. I just thought of some interesting things." "Is that so?" This Arcanum Immortal King did not believe such words. In the evening, Qi Ming fell into a heaven and earth array formation formed by the combination of a trapping array, killing array, and illusion array. This was the strongest heaven and earth array formation Qi Ming had encountered along the way. "This is..." Immortal King Linglong's expression was slightly surprised. "This is the Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Obliteration Formation. It's already a relatively powerful heaven and earth formation in the central Divine Mountain. Ren Baokai has actually fallen into this heaven and earth formation." It was not only Qi Ming. Apart from that, many other Immortal King legacy disciples were the same as him. They had also fallen into this heaven and earth array and could not escape. They were constantly trapped. After Qi Ming fell into it, the surrounding environment immediately changed from the original primitive forest to a desolate desert. In this desert, a destructive wind constantly blew. Obliteration wind. This was no ordinary wind, but contained the power of obliteration. If it was struck and not blocked, its vitality would be directly corroded and its spirituality would be obliterated. Exquisite array. Qi Ming waved his right hand, and the exquisite compass flew out. Runes surged out and fused with the surrounding worldly power. He even used some of the power of the central Divine Mountain to form a huge array. The array formation floated in the air and blocked the surrounding obliteration wind. The next moment, the surrounding environment changed again. The desert became an oasis, and golden treasures appeared one after another. Peerless beauties, mountainous spirit stones, inheritances, and treasures appeared. It was filled with all kinds of temptations. Qi Ming's mind was firm. These temptations could not affect him at all. He was completely unmoved. Qi Ming was constantly deducing and cracking this Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Obliteration Formation. He was searching for the flaws and crevices of this heaven and earth formation. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and his face was slightly pale. What a pity! Immortal King Linglong sighed and was quite regretful. As expected, it's still not enough. He was just a little bit away from cracking the Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Obliteration Formation, but he is still not there yet. Heaven and Earth Exquisite Calculation Art. Qi Ming roared and forced out a mouthful of blood with Ren Baokai's identity. Blood spurted out and fused into the exquisite compass. It shone brightly. All kinds of lights flashed, runes flickered, and the heavenly secrets circulated. "I found it!" The next moment, Qi Ming opened his eyes. They were filled with a dazzling light. He jumped up and reached out to grab the exquisite compass. He rushed in one direction courageously. Chapter 208 Killing with a Borrowed Knife? When Immortal King Linglong saw this situation, even with his shrewdness, he was shocked in his heart, but he did not show it. He went all out and forcefully deduced. Moreover, he succeeded. He really succeeded. Qi Ming had indeed cracked the Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Obliteration Formation and found the exit. Then, he rushed over without any hesitation and rushed out of the formation. Cough cough. Qi Ming stabilized himself and coughed a few times, showing traces of blood. He turned around and saw a small basin about 100 meters in diameter. It was only a small basin less than 100 meters in diameter, but there was a Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Obliteration Formation hidden. It was very dangerous. Just now, he had been affected by the array formation and entered this small basin. He was trapped in the Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Obliteration Formation and was almost unable to come out. But in fact, although the Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Obliteration Formation was a heaven and earth array formation formed by the combination of many array formations, with Qi Ming's divine power, he had actually long deduced and broken this heaven and earth array formation. Qi Ming's current identity was Ren Baokai. With his strength and ability, it was very difficult to crack this heaven and earth array formation. Qi Ming had to act out this role. It was all a show. There was no such thing as forcing out his essence blood to forcefully deduce it. It was just a performance. Very good. Very good. Immortal King Linglong saw Qi Ming being so decisive and indeed had no fear. He pressed forward courageously and had a firm heart. He could not help but sigh, with such a temperament, he will have great achievements. He was even more satisfied. Apart from me, there are also Immortal King legacy disciples who have fallen into this Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Obliteration Formation. Qi Ming looked carefully. In this small basin, there were actually more than 10 Immortal King legacy disciples standing. These Immortal King legacy disciples were the same as Qi Ming. They were all affected by the power of the mountains and the pressure of the central divine mountain, and they accidentally fell into the Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Obliteration Formation. Now, only Qi Ming walked out. The remaining dozens of Immortal King legacy disciples were all trapped inside. There are also familiar faces. Qi Ming's gaze landed on one of them. He was the second senior brother, Zhao Changli. He knew Ren Baokai's secret and had threatened him. He took a deep breath. His gaze was cold as he revealed killing intent. He walked towards the basin and took out the exquisite compass. He deduced the Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Obliteration Formation and changed the surrounding mountains and rivers. His dharmic powers surged, causing the Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Obliteration Formation to undergo a corresponding change. Is he Immortal King Linglong narrowed his eyes slightly and saw through the trick, using his understanding of the Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Annihilation Formation, coupled with the deduction technique and the surrounding mountains and rivers, he changed the circulation trajectory of the Heaven and Earth Formation. From there, he used most of the power of the Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Annihilation on Zhao Changli. Most importantly, this change is only temporary. Before long, the mountains and rivers changed by Ren Baokai will gradually recover. There won't be any traces left. What a good way to kill with a borrowed knife. In the past, Ren Baokai would not do such a thing. He has indeed changed a lot. Immortal King Linglong took a deep breath, however, this change is considered good. Those who achieve great things should be sufficiently decisive and ruthless. In the past, Ren Baokai was too cowardly. When Qi Ming had just arrived at the exquisite Immortal Mountain, if he did something completely different from before, he would definitely be suspected by Immortal King Linglong or even interrogated. However, it would not happen now. This was because Qi Ming had already obtained the trust of Immortal King Linglong in advance. Coupled with the fact that he had displayed his improvement and changes step by step, it caused his image to become more and more elevated in Immortal King Linglong's heart and obtain change. In Immortal King Linglong's mind, Ren Baokai had experienced a life and death calamity, so he was undergoing a transformation. This transformation was completed. Ren Baokai was reborn. Now, even if the true Ren Baokai revived and stood in front of Immortal King Linglong, he might not even believe it. This was very terrifying. Qi Ming had already broken through Immortal King Linglong's defenses. The next moment, in the basin that was less than 100 meters in diameter. When Qi Ming had just changed the landscape of the Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Obliteration Formation, this Heaven and Earth Array Formation immediately had a huge effect. The power of the Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Obliteration Formation gathered, and nearly 70% of the power enveloped Zhao Changli. In an instant, Zhao Changli's defense was broken. The obliteration wind swept over like a violent wind and pierced through his body. It completely obliterated Zhao Changli's vitality and spirituality. It's you. Before he died, Zhao Chenggli's gaze passed through the obstruction of the Heavenly Illusion 9 Palace Obliteration Formation and saw Qi Ming standing outside the array formation staring at him coldly. You! Another breeze blew. Zhao Chenggli's body transformed into ash that filled the sky and dissipated. There was no corpse left. At the same time, because most of the power of the Heavenly Illusion Obliteration 9 Palace Formation had landed on Zhao Chengli, the Heaven and Earth Formation had been changed. Therefore, the remaining dozens of Immortal King Legacy disciples sensed it and immediately seized this opportunity to find the flaw in the formation and quickly rushed out. Before they rushed out, Qi Ming left first. Immortal King Linglong pondered for a moment. With his control over the Dao of Heaven's secrets, he had long known everything about Zhao Chengli. The aptitude of this immortal of the 100,800th generation is quite good. Because he knew Ren Baokai's secret and threatened him for a long time, many of his resources were snatched away and used. He dug his own grave. Immortal King Linglong said, he deserved it. As someone who grasped the Dao of Heaven's secrets, he basically knew his legacy disciples like the back of his hand, but he would not interfere at all. If one attempted to interfere with the result of the heavenly secrets, they would definitely suffer a backlash. Immortal King Linglong would not easily make changes. He was like a chess player. Looking at the entire chessboard of the world, he did not easily interfere and allowed it to develop naturally. Ren Baokai and Zhao Chengli were both legacy disciples of Immortal King Linglong. Moreover, it was Zhao Chengli who had threatened him and provoked him first. Therefore, it was his own fault that he was killed. To put it another way, Ren Baokai had experienced the great calamity of life and death. His disposition had changed greatly, and he had become firm in his heart and comprehended the Dao heart. He was undergoing a transformation. He also had two parents who were city lords. On the other hand, Zhao Chengli was nothing. His status could not compare to Ren Baokai, his aptitude could not compare to him, and his temperament could not compare to the current him. So what if Zhao Chengli died? Even if Immortal King Linglong saw it with his own eyes, he would not pursue Ren Baokai's responsibility. There was no need. The night passed. Until the morning of the third day, Qi Ming arrived at the top of the central divine mountain, but his path was different from most of the Immortal King Legacy disciples. Most of the Immortal King Legacy disciples thought of ways to avoid those heaven and earth arrays, while Qi Ming forcefully broke through one after another. Every time Qi Ming cracked a heaven and earth array formation, his strength would increase a little, his grasp of the deduction technique would become stronger, and his understanding of the Dao of Heaven's secrets would become deeper. He grew step by step. This growth speed was a little exaggerated. Only Immortal King Linglong felt that this was a true transformation. On the top of the central divine mountain, Qi Ming stood at the edge. In the surroundings, figures stood in the air one after another. There were a total of 108, and it just happened to be 108 Immortal Kings. 108 Immortal Kings will gather now. Qi Ming was secretly shocked. The importance of the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven is probably more important than I expected. Back then, Celestial Venerable Ying was able to enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven using brute force. That's true. In the ancient era, the strength of the immortals was not as terrifying and unfathomable as now. However, Heavenly Venerate Ying established the ancient demon court and suppressed the mystic world. The demons are respected. Facing his request, the immortals had no choice but to agree. Immortal King Linglong directly sent a voice transmission to Qi Ming, interrupting his thoughts. Ren Baokai, your performance this time was very good. Along the way, I've personally witnessed your growth. You've done very well. Moreover, I've also seen your talent in the Dao of Heaven's secrets. It's enough to become my personal disciple. When you enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven this time, don't forcefully pursue the opportunities contained in it. Regardless of whether you obtained any opportunities in the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven this time, after you come out, I will take you in as my personal disciple and teach you the Dao of my exquisite heaven secrets. Disciple thanks Master. Qi Ming quickly replied, however, I still want to try. Immortal King Linglong was even more satisfied, in that case, go. I also believe that with your current situation, you will definitely obtain a great fortune in the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. At that time, you will shock the world with a single brilliant feat. You can also let me gain some face in front of the other 107 Immortal Kings. Yes. Qi Ming replied. In the surroundings, Xiaochuan, Ye Hanfan, Qi Ming, and the other legacy disciples of Immortal King Linglong stood together. The many Immortal King legacy disciples formed a total of 108 small groups. At this moment, Qi Ming had the time to observe the situation at the top of the mountain. He discovered that the entire top of the mountain was enveloped in a layer of chaotic fog. This was an extremely profound super array. There were a total of 108 Immortal Kings surrounding it. Qi Ming did not dare to circulate his divine power to spy on this super array. All the immortals present, including Qi Ming, were all in this super formation. He could not see the situation outside the super array clearly. The fog blocked everything. Was this really the top of the central divine mountain? Qi Ming could not help but wonder. Chapter 209 Opening of the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. Great Dao Resonance. Because of the influence of the super array, Qi Ming could not see the situation outside. Everything outside was isolated by the array formation fog, so he could only see the situation inside. He could not determine based on the situation in the array formation. If this was not the top of the central divine mountain, where could it be? If he was indeed already at the top of the central divine mountain, how high was it? What level was the exact height of the mountain peak? The atmosphere? The astral layer? The void layer? The calamity layer? Or the nirvana layer? Or could it be that the height of the divine mountain had actually exceeded the nirvana layer? Qi Ming could not obtain an accurate answer for the time being. He did not plan to continue investigating. It was meaningless. So what if he knew? There was no benefit in knowing. This time, he came to enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. As for whether the entrance to the Grotto-Heaven was really at the top of the central divine mountain, it was not important. It was possible that Celestial Venerable Ying had also been deceived by the immortal race back then. It was also possible that Celestial Venerable Ying had lied. However, it should not be the case. 3 days passed. At this time, at dawn on the 4th day. 3 days have passed. Among the 108 Immortal Kings, an Immortal King walked out. Qi Ming sensed the universe's aura on this Immortal King. As for this Immortal King, he was called the Universe Immortal King. Among the 108 Immortal Kings, Universe Immortal King was a relatively ancient Immortal King. All the Immortal King legacy disciples who have not reached the top of the central divine mountain are eliminated. They have lost the qualifications to enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven and can leave the central divine mountain. Universe Immortal King waved his right hand, and the Immortal King legacy disciples that did not arrive were teleported to the Immortal Boat. They were eliminated. The figure of Universe Immortal King was in a hazy fog. The 108 Immortal Kings present were actually enveloped in fog and could not be seen clearly at all. They were filled with mystery and unknown. Qi Ming would not forcefully spy on the true faces of these Immortal Kings. If he used the divine power of clairvoyant sight to spy on these Immortal Kings, Qi Ming would definitely be able to see their true faces. However, one could imagine the outcome. He would definitely be killed on the spot by these Immortal Kings. A mere Immortal King legacy disciple dared to spy on the true faces of the 108 Immortal Kings? Was he courting death? No matter what reason Qi Ming had, he would not be accepted by these Immortal Kings unless Immortal King Linglong died to protect Qi Ming. However, he would definitely not do this. Even if Qi Ming's current status in Immortal King Linglong's heart was already relatively high, and he had already planned to take Qi Ming as his personal disciple, it was still not the case. When the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven was activated this time, a total of 2,358 Immortal King legacy disciples of the 108 Immortal race obtained the qualifications to enter. 389 Immortal King legacy disciples were eliminated. Universe Immortal King continued, fellow deists, it's time. Please join forces and open the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. Alright. No problem. Hurry up and begin. We've waited for so long. Please. The other 107 Immortal Kings replied one after another, but there were also some Immortal Kings who did not speak. They only nodded slightly and could be considered to have replied. Several Immortal Kings directly formed the corresponding seal. Several runes that were like heaven and earth flew out and floated in the air, shining like stars. Dharmic powers surged. The Immortal Kings circulated their spell techniques and condensed the corresponding seals. There were a total of 108 different seals. They were like ancient symbols that floated in the void. The 108 seals emitted pressure. Qi Ming felt a considerable pressure. Not only that, all the Immortal King legacy disciples present felt a huge pressure. This was the pressure of an Immortal King. Even if it was only a trace, it was already extraordinary. Door of the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. Activate. Activate. Open. The next moment, the 108 Immortal King shouted in unison. The Immortal King seals they condensed were arranged in a pattern. Then, they became a ring. It emitted a dense light. It was chaotic. Under the control of the Immortal Kings, this Immortal King seal ring fused into the incomparably dense chaotic fog behind them. The fog churned. The Immortal King seal ring was like a key. It contained a profound fluctuation that opened the door to the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. A grand and extremely noble door that flickered with purple light gradually appeared from the chaotic fog. In the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven, there was not a vortex-shaped door. Instead, it was a true purple door. It was like a real door. It had already appeared. The purple door was closed. They observed carefully. On the purple door, 10,000 spirits of heaven and earth were carved. They were lifelike and extremely respected. On the 10,000 spirits of heaven and earth was carved the word immortal. It was high above and suppressed everything. This is the door to the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. Qi Ming engraved this purple door in his mind and would never forget it. The door hasn't been completely opened. I don't know the exact situation in the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven for the time being. Although Ren Baokai had entered the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven twice, when Qi Ming was deducing his past and history, everything regarding the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven was covered in a layer of fog that was difficult to see clearly. Qi Ming did not know the exact situation of the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. Of course, although the matters and scenes regarding the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven were all covered in a layer of fog and were difficult to see clearly, Qi Ming still deduced some information from it. He did not know everything. In the past 5 months, several fellow disciples who had entered the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven with Ren Baokai had come to visit Qi Ming a few times. During the conversation with him, they would always unintentionally mention the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. Facing these questions, Qi Ming did not panic. According to the information revealed by his fellow disciples during the conversation and the information he had deduced, the two combined and perfectly answered their questions. In addition, the reason why these fellow disciples came to visit Qi Ming and ask him about the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven was actually because Immortal King Linglong had secretly manipulated the heavenly secrets and led them there. This was also a test from Immortal King Linglong. It was not that Immortal King Linglong did not suspect Ren Baokai. However, after repeated probing, Qi Ming's suspicion became smaller and smaller, almost disappearing. The Immortal King Grotto-Heaven emitted another fluctuation. This mysterious fluctuation contained the charm of the heaven and earth great Dao and spread out. All the immortals present were slightly affected. Immediately after, the 2 doors of the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven slowly open. At first, only a crack was revealed. The crack was dark, and there was no light. Then, the 2 sides of the door opened completely. 9 different lights appeared in the door. red, orange, yellow, green, azure, blue, purple, black, and white. They intertwined. It was extremely gorgeous. This is. The next moment, Qi Ming's entire body shook. In his body, the three pure nascent souls suddenly opened its eyes. Its gaze seemed to have crossed layers of barriers as it looked straight into the deepest depths of the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. Qi Ming's cultivation level was already at the peak of the soul formation realm. The three pure nascent soul was originally cultivated by him. It was the fusion of the heaven and earth great Dao essence soul and the three pure nascent soul that Qi Ming had cultivated. It contained Qi Ming's entire cultivation. The three pure nascent soul was also Qi Ming's foundation. At this moment, the three pure nascent soul was attracted by something. It was attracted by something in the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven, and it reacted accordingly. Just like back then, when Qi Ming discovered the three pure Dao scripture in the Yinglong Temple, his connate purity great Dao golden core immediately reacted. If one had to describe it, this was great Dao resonance. In other words, Qi Ming was right. In the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven, there had to be an existence or object that could allow the three pure nascent soul to advance further. The greater probability was that it was a supreme great Dao method that could allow the three pure nascent soul to enter Dao integration. Huff! Qi Ming took a deep breath. He was actually very excited and nervous, but he did not show it. Instead, he tried his best to calm down. The closer he was to success, the more he could not let his guard down. Qi Ming had yet to enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. Even if he entered, he might not be able to obtain that item. Even if he obtained it, it would not be easy for Qi Ming to leave the central world safely. This was only the beginning. The revolution has not succeeded. This comrade still had to work hard. The Immortal King Grotto-Heaven's door has already been opened. Universe Immortal King looked at all the Immortal King legacy disciples present. Even Qi Ming felt extremely pressured. Under the scrutiny of Universe Immortal King, it was as if his entire body was about to be seen through. It was terrifying gasp. Qi Ming was extremely shocked in his heart. This Universe Immortal King's strength and cultivation are definitely much stronger than Immortal King Ling Long. That glance just now seemed to have completely seen through me. Ow! Fortunately, Qi Ming's physical transmutation had already reached the perfection limit. He was only a step away from the final profound realm. Although Universe Immortal King was terrifying, he had not reached the level of being able to see through Qi Ming at a glance. However, this Universe Immortal King was really very powerful. You can enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. Universe Immortal King said, the order of entering the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven is according to the order of arriving at the top of the central divine mountain. The first to arrive at the top of the central divine mountain will be the first to enter the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven, and so on and so forth. The last to arrive at the top of the central divine mountain will be the last to enter. Yes. This disciple has learned much. Yes. III. Including Qi Ming, a total of 2,358 Immortal King Legacy disciples said in unison. Chapter 210 Killing Tribulation Cloud. The first to arrive at the top of the central divine mountain was the legacy disciple of the Immortal King, the Eternal Silence Immortal King. His full name was Qing Fengjiu. He was also a second-generation immortal. His parents were both first-generation immortals, and his background was no different than Ren Baokai. However, Qing Fengjiu's talent and temperament were not just a little stronger than Ren Baokai. Qing Fengjiu wore a green robe and had a floating aura. His figure tore through the air like a green stream of light. His speed was not slow as he flew towards the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. It was as if he passed through a transparent screen of light as his figure disappeared from the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. It's my turn. Go. Immortal King Grotto-Heaven, I'm here. I will definitely obtain great fortune this time. Let's go. One after another, Qi Ming saw the figures of Immortal King legacy disciples tear through the air one after another and follow closely behind Qing Fengjiu. They entered the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven and entered. Not long after, they had already arrived at Qi Ming's side. Qi Ming circulated his dharmic powers and circulated the divine power of physical transmutation to the limit. Following that, he soared into the sky and flew towards the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. Just as he approached, Qi Ming felt an invisible force as if it had no source. It seemed to have appeared out of thin air and descended from the unknown, landing on Qi Ming's entire body. This is... Qi Ming's heart skipped a beat. He and the others were all in a super array. This super array used the void mirror as the eye of the array to suppress everything. In addition, before entering the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven, they had to undergo further inspection by the void mirror. It would reflect all the various Immortal King legacy disciples who had entered the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven and pry out the foundation. This way, it could prevent an Immortal King legacy disciple from obtaining the fortune and opportunity that did not belong to him after entering the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven through cheating. It could also investigate if there was a problem with the Immortal King legacy disciple. The Void Mirror would grant an invisible void power to every Immortal King legacy disciple who entered the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. This invisible void power could protect the safety of these Immortal King legacy disciples. As long as one encountered a fatal danger in the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven, this power would be triggered. The Void Mirror could borrow the power of the void bestowed to it to bring the Immortal King legacy disciple out of the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven to guarantee their safety. The next moment, Qi Ming felt an invisible force descend and transform into an invisible screen of light that covered his entire body. This was the power of the void from the immortal race's supreme treasure, the Void Mirror. Fortunately, Qi Ming heaved a sigh of relief. The immortal race's supreme treasure, the Void Mirror, could not detect Qi Ming's true identity. In the investigation of the Void Mirror, Qi Ming was the true Ren Baokai. This way, Qi Ming was relieved. His disguise and concealment this time was almost perfect. Somehow, Qi Ming sensed the Void Mirror hidden in the depths of the super array. It was between reality and the void. It was very profound and had various mysteries. Success! Qi Ming stepped into the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven and entered it. His figure disappeared inside. Behind Qi Ming, other Immortal King legacy disciples entered. Not long after, a total of 2,358 Immortal King legacy disciples entered. Then, only 108 Immortal Kings were left in the entire super formation. They did not speak much and only closed their eyes to rest and wait quietly. In the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven, after Qi Ming stepped into the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven, he felt a white light flash in front of him. All his vision and senses were hidden by the dazzling white light. When his gaze returned to normal, he had already arrived at the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. This place. Qi Ming looked around. He was currently stepping on a 9-colored light path. The 9-colored light was quite dazzling as the Milky Way. The light fog that rose from the 9-colored light path beneath his feet blocked the surrounding Nirvana Tribulation Chi and Invisible Killing Tribulation, protecting the legacy disciples of the Immortal King who had entered the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. These destructive forces were invisible and intangible. It was almost impossible to notice with the naked eye. If one did not have the protection of the 9-colored light path, the moment they entered the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven, they would be surrounded by Tribulation Chi and Killing Tribulation. Those who were not strong enough or lacked dharmic powers would even die on the spot. It was extremely terrifying. He observed carefully. Qi Ming was not the only one walking on this 9-colored light path. A total of 2,358 Immortal King legacy disciples walked on this 9-colored light path. At the front of the light path, the first to walk was Qing Fengjiu. For example, now, 100 meters in front of Qi Ming stood another Immortal King legacy disciple. 100 meters behind him stood another Immortal King legacy disciple. After exchanging a glance with them, Qi Ming nodded and greeted them. Then, they did not interfere. At this moment, the Immortal King legacy disciples who had stepped into the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven immediately used different methods to constantly observe the surrounding situation, intending to find opportunities in the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. Clairvoyant sight. With the thought, Qi Ming circulated his divine power. His eyes revealed a dazzling light, and a wisp of purple light flickered as he looked out of the path of light. In Qi Ming's eyes, the entire Immortal King Grotto-Heaven was almost 99% filled with the Nirvana Tribulation Qi and Invisible Killing Tribulation. These Nirvana Tribulation Qi and the Invisible Killing Tribulation intertwined, forming clouds of Killing Tribulation. They were grey in color, like clouds, but they were not complete. If one had to describe it, it was more like clouds in the universe. It was filled with mystery. If he accidentally fell into the killing cloud formed by the Nirvana Tribulation Qi and the Invisible Killing Tribulation, he would be in great danger. It was extremely terrifying. This was not a joke. Instead, it truly possessed such terrifying power. Now, Qi Ming stood on the nine-colored light path. This was the light path that the immortal race had established in the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. As long as one stood on the light path, it was sufficiently safe because the nine-colored fog could block the Nirvana Tribulation Qi and the Invisible Killing Tribulation. If he wanted to obtain great fortune and opportunities in the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven, he could not stay on the nine-colored light path forever. He had to step out. This was because the great fortune and opportunities contained in the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven only existed in the Nirvana Tribulation Qi and the Invisible Killing Tribulation. Don't worry. Qi Ming's eyes flickered as he calmed down. The three pure nascent soul in his body had already resonated with a certain existence or object in the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. He could already vaguely sense an existence or object's location, but Qi Ming could not show it too clearly. He could only take it slow. Qi Ming was like the other Immortal King legacy disciples as he slowly walked on the nine-colored light path. His gaze constantly sized up the outside of the path, searching for opportunities. Not long after. I found it! An Immortal King legacy disciple shouted. He was a little excited, and he did not hesitate for long before immediately exerting his full strength and rushing out of the nine-colored light path. Then, he circulated his dharmic powers and wrapped them around his full strength. He released his divine powers and transformed into an incomparably huge palm that grabbed at a certain spot in the void. Tell. That is. Qi Ming circulated the seer sight and clearly saw that after this Immortal King legacy disciple rushed out of the nine-colored light path, it immediately attracted the surrounding Nirvana Tribulation Qi that quickly enveloped him. Under the Nirvana Tribulation Qi, the dharmic powers of this Immortal King legacy disciple were rapidly consumed. The incomparably huge palm that he had transformed into was also quickly obliterated and shrunk. However, at the last moment, the incomparably huge palm that he had transformed into still pierced through a tribulation cloud that was less than a meter in diameter and grabbed a ball of light that was neither big nor small. This ball of light transformed into a brown pearl. It was clearly a Dharma treasure. I got it, ha ha ha. This Immortal King legacy disciple had indeed obtained this Dharma treasure. A surprised expression appeared on his face, but his dharmic powers were mostly exhausted, and he could no longer reach the surrounding Nirvana Tribulation Qi. At this dangerous moment, the invisible void power on his body was triggered. The power of the void mirror was activated. Using the power of the super array, it directly pulled this Immortal King legacy disciple out of the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven. This Immortal King legacy disciple disappeared into thin air. How impulsive! He was too anxious. It's only a 1-meter wide tribulation cloud. What good can it be? It's only an ordinary Dharma treasure. If we rush out like this, we won't know if we have enough dharmic powers to return to the nine-colored light path. He was sent out of the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven after obtaining a Dharma treasure. Ven. Ma. What a pity. 3. In the surroundings, many Immortal King legacy disciples discussed. I see. Qi Ming basically understood, in the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven, there are treasures and opportunities in those clouds. If I want to obtain the opportunity and fortune, I have to rush out of the nine-colored light path and obtain the fortune and opportunity in the killing tribulation cloud. However, I have to leave enough dharmic powers to return to the nine-colored light path. otherwise. Even if the probability of death is extremely low because of the power of the void protecting your body, you will still be directly teleported out of the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven and won't be able to obtain anything else. Qi Ming circulated the mystic technique, clairvoyant sight. Under the heavenly eye divine power, the scene in the Immortal King Grotto-Heaven was almost exposed. The other Immortal King legacy disciples had to rack their brains and methods to find one or two suitable tribulation clouds, but Qi Ming could see them all clearly. In the surrounding void, the tribulation clouds were clearly visible. In fact, Qi Ming also saw a tribulation cloud floating beside the nine-colored light path. Moreover, it was just beside Qi Ming. He reached out and grabbed it. It was an opportunity that came knocking on his door. This. Qi Ming did not think much of it. He directly stretched out his hand and circulated his dharmic powers. He reached into the killing tribulation cloud and took out the thing inside.